This is social studies, and we talked last time, you learned more about the tart cherry industry, and I just realized I called it cherry tarts, which must be because I'm hungry. But this time we're going to talk about careers that are possible in the tart cherry industry. So if you remember, it talks a little bit about how when cherries, sweet cherries are used to eat fresh generally, and tart cherries are used for baking and cooking often. And so they become cherry pie filling, they become jam, they become ice cream, they could become a salsa, they become all sorts of things. So your first question here is to brainstorm all those kinds of careers and people that could help produce and process tart cherry products. So we watched that, you watched the video, and so think back to that video, think about the people who plant them, think about the people who pick them, think about the truck drivers, the people who process them. So think about some of those careers and list them below. Then there's a reminder, we're reviewing all of those concepts that we talked about before. So you have consumers, and those are the people who eat those products and use those products. So we've got those, we've got producers, consumers and producers. The consumer buys them, the producer is the person who grows them, or they provide the goods and services that go with that. Scarcity, reminder that it means it's really hard to find, so there's a very low supply of something. Again, economics, as you know, is a study of how people make choices to get what they want, and so then we've got to talk about supply, the low supply or the high supply, and demand has to do with how much a person or group wants something, and that can be low or high as well. So you're going to watch this video for help on the next slides. You watched this video already, so this is just a replay of that video. Pay close attention though to the workers and what their jobs are. So what you're going to try to do is create a web around tart cherries. So it's very, very important that you watch this video right here, because this video is going to help you create your web. So you're going to brainstorm ideas about all the careers that you saw and all the ways that you think, all the ways that we get tart cherries from the farm to your table. So there's a whole bunch of steps to that, right? There are many steps: farming, growing the fruit, trucking, moving it back and forth, processing it, putting it into bottles, doing whatever you're doing, packaging, marketing, so many things. So you're going to make a web, and there's a rubric here for your web and what kind of a grade you would get on that web. So if you have 3 in-depth tart cherry careers and then 2 smaller career bubbles that come out from each one of those, so you have a total of 9 careers, you would get a 4. On a level 3, you'd have 2 knowledgeable tart cherry careers and 1 smaller career bubble on each. That would be 4 careers, and that would give you a 3. And level 2, you only partially do it, and the web isn't quite clear, maybe it's not correct, and level 1 is where you would need additional support. Maybe you didn't do it at all. So here is your career web to work on. And then as you're doing it, think about the questions below and see if you can add any more clusters to your web. So who helps the farmers when they need money to buy equipment? And how do the cherries get put in packages or jars? Who designed the labels on the jars? So these are all different jobs that might have something to do with, that do have something to do with tart cherries and getting them from the tree to you. How do cherries get from the farm to the processing plant or grocery store? Again, there's a little video there that you can watch. All right, oops, I meant to delete that slide. It can be there. And then you need to think about these questions, and I actually love these questions. Can someone be a producer and a consumer? So think about that. And who is the consumer of a mechanic's services? In other words, who uses a mechanic's services? How is the cherry farmer a producer and a consumer? And what services will the marketer produce? The marketer is someone who tries to get people to buy the product. So think about, in order to buy the product, you need to have it packaged, right? You maybe need to have that package designed. So think of all of the things that go into making that happen. And then the very last slide here, a sweet ending. The tart cherry industry relies on producers and consumers working together in order to be successful. So obviously sweet cherries are typically eaten fresh, tart cherries used for pies and other baked goods. A producer, remember, makes, grows, or supplies goods and services, and a consumer purchases those goods and services. And like any agricultural product or any product that is grown on a farm or an orchard or something like that, tart cherry production requires a variety of careers to grow, harvest, and market the products. And then, if you want to be really, really creative and it's okay with your parents, you can bake your own cherry pie, which would be really, really awesome. And actually, I have had a pie made with these directions, and they're really delicious. So, good luck. I hope you can maybe get a chance to make a pie this weekend.